What is up, guys? Rick is here, and today we're discussing the April update and whether or not this is finally the DLC us Destiny fans have been waiting for. I don't want to give away too much of what we're going to talk about in this video, but it definitely looks promising. However, with that being said, I want to assert that I'm going to be taking a little bit of a more skeptical approach to this DLC. I don't want to dive into a pool of hype as I've seen so many Destiny YouTubers already do. I mean, just look at what has happened in the past few months. Bungie has just finished fixing PvP from when they ruined it with skill-based matchmaking. The last live update was Crimson Days, and although it was fun, it was anything but substantial. That really could have used some weapons or armor as rewards. So coming into this DLC, any rational person would see that a more skeptical approach is probably the better one. Now, last week's video that kind of analyzed the stream that was unveiled, talking about what we're actually going to be doing in the April update, specifically really going over the strikes, for example, and detailing the changes made to the new Prison of Elders. A lot of people are saying we were a little harsh on the April update in that video, and I actually would agree. In fact, I was actually defending it in the podcast a lot. It was some of my guests were being a lot more harsh about it, but I do think we were overall being a little harsh on the DLC. I mean, for goodness sakes, it is a free update, technically. I mean, a lot of people don't see it that way. We're going to be talking about that in this video, but for the majority of people, it's just a free update, and it is bringing a lot to the table. That being said, although the fanboys didn't enjoy what we said, we brought up some extremely important issues, and one of the main ones, and the main one I brought up, and that's actually going to lead right into one of the main great things about what was revealed today, is the ways you can level up to 335. In the first stream, they didn't really elaborate on this too much. They did in the most recent stream, but one of my main concerns is that if the only way to get to 335, the new light level, is this new content, is the new Prison of Elders, is going to put so much strain on that new content. And even if that content is quite good, and it's very fun to play, if it's the only thing you're playing, it's going to get pretty boring pretty fast. Now, to counteract this, I simply suggested that Bungie make the other endgame content also drop 335 gear. At the time, King's Fall hard mode was only going to drop up to 330 gear, confirmed by this picture. And considering half the comments, because I actually got it wrong and said it was 320, but it was 330, half the comments said it was 335, and the other half said it was 330 when trying to correct me when I said it was 320. Considering it was so split, I'd say Bungie did not really do a great job of explaining that. But thankfully, Bungie has completely answered this problem. They have done away with all of my concerns about this area because it has been revealed that there's going to be several different ways to get 335 gear. Firstly, there is the new Challenge of Elders competition mode. We knew that already. It's also going to drop in the PvP stuff, which we also speculated about, the Iron Banner and Charles of Osiris, and the Court of Oryx is actually going to drop 335 artifacts, which is great. That's going to keep that content relevant. Additionally, exotic engrams will decrypt up to 335 light level gear, and this is absolutely fantastic, but strike specific gear can drop up to 335. This I did not think they would do, and I'm so glad they did. Now strikes are extremely relevant. They really weren't for a long time, but the fact that you can now get 335 Imago loops and stuff, that is huge, and again, that's really going to bring a lot of relevancy to strikes. It's going to be something else to play once you've done the weekly activities. And lastly, they've said that they're going to hotfix King's Fall. So after the April update comes out, again, remember that initially King's Fall hard mode gear will only drop up to 330. But they're then going to do a hotfix as soon as possible and then make it so that it's 335. And again, that's absolutely fantastic. It's going to keep King's Fall relevant. If they didn't do this, King's Fall would simply not be played as much as it is going to be now. And the reason being is because once you get up to the higher light levels, once you get up to even the high 20s, are you really going to do an entire King's Fall run through to just get 330 gear? I mean, why wouldn't you go for that 335? Why wouldn't you play strikes, do Court of Oryx, do the challenge mode? But now, because hard mode can drop up to 335 because of this hotfix, This is going to keep King's Fall relevant, and that is absolutely fantastic. Now, before we continue with the new information revealed, I do want to make a very important point. I think most of us can agree the fact that Bungie is keeping King's Fall relevant is an awesome thing. I, for one, can't wait to get back into King's Fall and go for that new 335 gear. But this was very close to not happening. I mean, look at the evidence. Bungie was going to make King's Fall only drop 330 gear, and luckily we were able to convince them last minute to introduce a hotfix quickly after the DLC comes out. Again, this almost didn't happen. It was only because people like myself, like you guys who helped spread my ideas, like other people echoing the same ideas as me, stood up and said, hey, we've spotted a potential problem. We want King's Fall to be relevant. How ironic is it that the fanboys and the you always complain crowd almost made Destiny a little bit worse? It was only because of people willing to share these potential problems that we got this fixed. And this is my ultimate goal. Again, I always get criticized for just constantly complaining about Destiny all the time, but stuff like this is my goal, to get stuff fixed before it ever becomes a problem. So I want to give a huge shout out to anyone out there who is willing to listen to arguments and judge their legitimacy rather than just shutting them down and falling to either one of two categories. The Destiny is perfect, all you do is complain category, or the Destiny is dead, you need to move on category. And by the way, I get hate from both of those groups. Now, shifting back to the information revealed, what we have, and discussing kind of the question, is this the DLC we've finally been waiting for? We have a Destiny that more things than ever are relevant in the endgame. I seriously don't think Destiny has ever been at a point to which it's going to be with this April update, where as many things in the game are relevant and will give you endgame gear. This is absolutely fantastic, and this is also complemented for another reveal in this stream talking about how Infusion has now changed. So if I have a gun that's at 250 light, for example, and I want to bring it up in light level, well, before you would have to simply just infuse stuff, and if I infuse it with a 300 light level gun, for example, it would go up to 270, 280. It would be somewhere in between those two light levels. Now, if I infuse that 250 gun with a 300 gun, the 250 gun will go right up to 300. You are going to raise the stuff you infuse by the exact light level of the stuff you put into it, which is absolutely fantastic. And I know personally I have so much gear, legendaries that I kind of like, but I really can't get committed into raising their light up. But now if I only need to use one piece of gear, that's going to be fantastic. And that's, again, really going to make all of the content relevant. You don't mind playing strikes, because even if you don't give a crap about getting another 335 Imago loop, if you get another 335 Imago loop, that represents infusing any other weapon you can that's available to infuse up to that new light level cap, which is absolutely fantastic. And in fact, on the subject of new weapons, if we look at a lot of the weapons that were revealed in stream, we see both a mix of new weapons that are going to be, drops from the new Prison of Elders content, and some old classics, the Shadow Price, the Badger CCL. That stuff is all back. They've brought back a lot of the Year 1 weapons. Now, of course, new weapons are always great to diversify Destiny, and I am happy that they are bringing back some of these Year 1 weapons. However, it is a little difficult to get too praiseworthy, considering this is kind of fixing a problem that they kind of caused themselves by just not updating this content in the first place. And although we can get bogged down in an argument talking about whether or not all of the Year 1 exotics should have been updated, when the Taken King came out, blah blah blah, that's not really going to be too relevant. We just need to look at the game as the state of the game is now. Is this an improvement? I think it absolutely is, and I would love to see more of the Year 1 weapons in the future kind of brought up and being able to utilize in Year 2. So on the whole, judging the game from how it is now, this is definitely a positive thing. However, my big question about the weapons being added in this particular DLC was, do they fix the biggest problem with Destiny's loot system, and especially in the weapons, right now? Now, that biggest problem, and I made a whole video about this, and heck, I'll link it in the description if you guys want to check it out, but it just talks about how the weapons are getting very, very stale as more and more added, simply because all of these weapons fall into the same damage archetypes. auto rifles can only do 3 different damages and rate of fire combinations in all of Destiny from the alpha to this point in time right now. Obviously, once you get to the 50th, 100th gun that's been made that's an auto rifle and it falls into these same 3 categories, the guns simply don't feel very special. Combine that with the fact that you have perks that are woefully unbalanced. Like, everyone's looking, if you have a pulse rifle and you're trying to get a good roll, you know what perks you're looking for. You're looking for Headseeker, you're looking for full auto and stuff like that. You are not looking for Exhumed, you are not looking for Battle Runner, and because there's only a small subset of perks that are worth going for, it makes it so that all of these guns that act the same because they're all in the same damage archetypes now have the same perks and the same roll, which really just goes into even more so making them feel very similar and making them feel not very special. If you're one of the people that just randomly got sick of Destiny all of a sudden, that's probably why. Now, did Bungie do anything to address these issues with the new weapons being added? No. All of the weapons I've seen still fall into the same damage archetypes, and they all are still using the same perks. There are no new perks that I'm aware of that have been introduced in this live update. Now, unfortunately, that is a downside, and frankly, some new usable perks would have definitely not gone unnoticed. However, to slightly counteract this downside, there is an upside, and that upside is unique weapons. If you have weapons that are unique and desirable enough, you kind of don't really notice that they're the same as other weapons. And here we have some very unique weapons being added. Specifically, there is a loot-based shotgun, so thankfully we have confirmed that there is specific new strike loot that drops for the new strikes, because this Taken themed shotgun actually drops from the new updated Winter's Run strike, which is fantastic. There's also a new Taken themed sword, which is going to be another super desirable piece of loot as well. Now, these weapons are basically going to act like mini exotics. A lot of people are going to spend a lot of time and effort trying to complete their collection and get these weapons. And just giving people a reason to play the game and go after these weapons is definitely a good thing. Now, we've talked about weapons, and let's talk about armor. A lot of the armor being added into the game is fairly irrelevant. I hate to kind of break it to you guys, but armor in Destiny is not that useful. Getting your scout rifle to reload a little bit quicker doesn't matter too much. It's basically a race to the highest light level. However, now with the new Infusion method, it may not be like that as much. Actually, now, hopefully, you can be able to really customize your build. If you do really like using a scout rifle, you can try to look for everything that increases stuff to scout rifles, so that is going to be a little interesting. But on the whole, nothing really amazing coming out about the new armor, except that there is kind of some collector items that people are going to go for. Basically, there's these things called sterling treasures. You get these awarded to you at the end after you've completed your weekly Prison of Elders challenge mode. You also get one for doing the weekly Crucible challenge mode, and these sterling treasures will award you with a random piece of gear, and it's going to be from one of the new sets of gear. So you're going to have this striker stuff, I think, whatever it's called. It's just going to be some really cool looking armor, and that Taken armor that we've seen Guardians run with so much before, that's also going to be available to get from this loot package. Additionally, there's going to be some other random rewards, including some ships that do look cool, but there's nothing too amazing you can get out of that as well. Now, I actually think this whole sterling treasure thing is something pretty cool that Bungie has done with armor, just giving you, again, more desirable armor that you're trying to complete your set of. And in fact, if you complete your entire set of the Taken armor, you're going to earn a new emote, which is fantastic. Again, that's going to give people an incentive to keep playing. It's going to give them a reward to look forward to. If they complete the set, they get a special reward. Now, since we're already talking about this, I should mention that it was revealed on stream that you can actually buy these sterling treasure packs from Eververse. So you can use your money and buy these sterling treasure packs to try to get that Taken gear and, again, that striker gear. And at this point, I'm realizing it's called Spectre and not striker armor. Now, this actually did make a lot of players pretty angry, and the phrase pay to win was thrown out quite a lot in stream when this was happening. However, my position on this, and I think it's a position a lot of you weren't expecting me to take, is that I couldn't care less. I do not think this is a bad thing. And the simple reason being is because when you look at these Sterling treasure packs, the armor that they reward only comes with a defense of 3, and you actually have to infuse it up. It's nowhere near pay to win because the armor does not give you any discernible advantage, it just looks cool. The one slightly concerning area is that you can actually get out of these Sterling treasure packs these consumables that give your character increased rep for 2 hours. So you can get increased Vanguard rep, increased Crucible rep, etc. So this is technically actually pay to win. A person who buys these Sterling treasure packs is actually going to be able to get a bunch of these rep increasers and, for example, just apply a bunch of the Crucible rep gainers and get ahead in Crucible reputation and in Crucible levels of someone who didn't buy these Sterling treasure packs. So that is technically pay to win, essentially pay to get ahead. However, let's be quite honest, guys, there's not really much you get from leveling up in the Crucible. Like, no one needs another Havoc Pigeon. I have like 17 myself. I really don't think this is that concerning in my opinion. However, we will just have to see where this goes, but I do think that people do have a legitimate reason to be upset with Bungie over this, considering faction gainers are anything but cosmetic items, to which Bungie promised purely cosmetic items will be sold through Eververse, and that's just not the case in this issue. But again, I'm not upset by this. By the way, while we're on the topic of Eververse, there's a bunch of new ridiculously overpriced emotes you can buy with this update as well. And I say that, but I'm totally going to end up buying the Shia LaBeouf Just Do It emote. Now, the last topic we're going to be going over and the last thing revealed in stream was Chroma Glow. Now, what Chroma Glow is it's essentially a new level of customization for both your armor or your weapons. Essentially, there is going to be new nodes on your armor and weapons that allow you to insert a Chroma Glow. They come in 4 colors, white, blue, yellow, and red. And to apply a Chroma Glow to a weapon or armor, all you need to do is get the Chroma material that's going to drop out of those Sterling treasure packs, and then you can just, insert it into a armor piece or weapon piece. Now, interestingly enough, by spending a little glimmer, you can actually re-roll the color that is allowed to be used on that gear piece. So if you get a helmet, it might have the option to put in a white Chroma Glow. So you would insert the white Chroma material and then it would apply that glow. And by the way, all of the Chroma Glows actually look pretty cool for both the weapons and the armor. Definitely worth going for. Now, you can actually re-roll that option, so then you can re-roll it and it'll change from white to another random color, so maybe it's red. And then if you want to insert your red Chroma Glow, you would again use the material in that armor piece or weapon piece. And if you use the material and then you want to change the color, so if you actually use your white Chroma material and put it into that helmet, but then think, this kind of looks dumb, I would rather have blue, and you try to re-roll it to get blue, you are going to lose that white Chroma material, which is kind of unfortunate, but again, it kind of keeps it rare and keeps it kind of really cool when you see someone with decked out Chroma stuff. And the exact same thing applies to weapons with the Chroma Glow slot as well. Now, we've been asking for weapon camos for God knows how long, and finally getting some version of that is definitely a good thing. And again, it looks fantastic with armor, and you can actually use an armor shader and Chroma Glow at the same time. So the combinations are now really going to be increased for how you can customize your character. And again, that's even more compounded by the fact that now it's a lot easier to get armor pieces to that max light because you're going to be infusing directly to the new light level. And to store all of these new weapons, armor, and Chroma materials, your vault is going to be expanded by an entire new tab for each of the sections. So, finally, we have the question, is this the DLC we've all been waiting for? And I think, for me, the answer to that question is yes. This is the kind of free update I always envisioned. When Bungie first talked about this and first revealed their whole scheme for Eververse and said we would be funding the DLCs, this is the kind of thing I've wanted all along. This DLC, the April update, is adding a bunch of stuff, not necessarily more content, but so much more stuff to do. You have a new light level increase, all of this content is relevant. Thank God for that. Strikes, King's Fall, the new Prison of Elders. You have even the Court of Oryx is now relevant again to try to get those artifacts. So there is so much stuff to do, and you're actually earning a decent amount of awesome stuff, earning some of the old weapons back up to the new light levels, earning the new weapons, of course, trying to get the Chroma glows so you can get your armor and weapons to look as awesome as you think you are. We've got some new specific weapons that are definitely worth going for. We have a really awesome, Taken shotgun, the Taken sword. We have a bunch of year 1 exotics that have been upgraded, so those are going to really kind of differentiate what people are using in builds again. And as a result of all of this stuff that's been revealed, again, this is a live update I've been waiting for. This is the exact thing that I've wanted all along, and I can't wait as a Destiny fan to get back on Destiny. April 12th is when this is coming out, and play it again, enjoy it again, have stuff to do, have stuff to try to get, and I'm very excited for the state of the game after this point. How long will it last? I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure we'll find out, but as a live update that is technically free for most players, this is a fantastic addition to Destiny. Now that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you enjoy an analysis of all of this content that's revealed today on one single video rather than 17 little videos. Now if you do appreciate that, again, please remember to support this video by simply rating or especially sharing it. Now if you enjoyed this content and want to see more Destiny content from me, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. Now if you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. And I guarantee you, when this new content comes out on April 12th, we will definitely be doing some open Prison of Elders challenge mode lobbies, so stay tuned for that. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.